Welcome to the Olympian Table. My name's Stephen Williams, and it's Easter weekend, and we're all looking forward to all that family time where we can get together, maybe have a couple of beers, nice meal, or even, take the family out, and we can celebrate Easter, religious, of course. Anyway, the reason why I said that was because this week we've got a special edition of the program, which is to celebrate the release of Mr. Trump's Pray for America Bible. And we just want some comments on what you think of this scoundrel's idea of raising money for his legal fees. I don't think he should be bringing religion into anything. I think we have a wonderful country in America, and I think from anybody from any religion is welcome in this beautiful and great country that we've got in America, regardless of what sexual orientation you are and also what religion you are. You should be welcome to this country. I think taking the route that we are, this is a cult. I think we need to address this. We need to be, directed straight on to what it is. It's a cult. And basically we have the possibility of not becoming a democracy from November if this man gets anywhere near that beautiful White House up in Washington, D.C. He's, making statements that he's not making the same statements in court when he's under oath. So he's a liar. And basically we should not be playing up to this liar. So what I wanted to do was, I've never been into the religion thing. I tried it, but, after the age of 8, to be perfectly honest, when I used to go to Bible school, I sort of gave it up and thought, well, I've got better things to do with my time. I'd rather go to the local park and play soccer. Kay, who has a much better history on the Bible, who's tweaking the buttons behind the screen at the back. Good morning, Kay. How are you?
Good morning. You forgot about me. I was like, what the heck? You didn't want to talk to me.
I always want to talk to you. But, we've been digging some facts up about different things. And so, let's just confirm some facts. Donald Trump, or Donald the Cult Trump, good old Donny, as many people are calling him now, reveals that he's selling Pray for America?
Make America pray again.
Make America pray again, okay? And it's basically the St. James version that he's selling. So tell us, Kay, you've been religious in your past. Mm-hmm. You're a Christian, correct?
No, but my dad is a preacher.
So he was a pastor?
He is a pastor, yeah.
Okay. So tell us your experience on the various types of Bibles.
So the main version that most people in America use is the King James version or the New American version, which is basically the same thing. It just King James is more formal. So, they used to speak thy, thou, shall, things like that.
Words that we can't understand today.
Yeah, people, nobody speaks like that anymore. So I think it's weird. It's just a branded Bible, right? It's literally, there's nothing that we know that is different. I mean, as far as we know, right? Unless I want to get a version of the Bible and legitimately compare it to an actual King James version of the Bible. Like, I can't understand why somebody would do this. Like, why would you do this? I think that's crazy. But yeah, so that's the main difference. And then I'm looking at the Bible and it says, God bless the CIA. Is that what the Bible, that's what it says?
In his version?
Yes, it says God bless the CIA. I'm pretty sure. I'm not even joking. Is that what this says? Oh, it says USA. Oh my God. It was just a really bad picture, but that's still, it's just a Bible that has the American flag on it. It's like, I have a really big problem with people trying to monetize religion because we already go through that enough, right? With, mega churches and things like that. So I think it is a little ridiculous.
Well, on my research, there is the King James Version, then there's the New King James Version,
Right.
then there's the Revised Standard Version, then there's the Holman Christian Standard Bible, and the English Standard Version, and the New Living Translation Version, and the New International Version.
Right.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
There's a ton of different versions of the Bible, but the most common two are probably going to be the King James Version and the American Standard Version, just because that's just what.
Just a little bit that will upset a lot of people that on our research that we've done is the King James Version, I think, which is the best way to put this, it was rumored that he was gay.
Yeah, we can say that it was rumored.
Yeah, so he wrote, we're being very polite here, all right, but it was rumored that King James, who wrote the version, was a gay man.
Yeah, apparently he was gay.
King of Scotland, and it was rumored that King James the Sixth, who was born in June 1566 and he died on the 27th of March 1625, was King of Scotland, and apparently King of Union, England, Wales, Crowns. Yeah, it was basically rumoured that he was a gay man.
Yep. So I think that that's funny.
And there's nothing wrong with being gay. We're not saying that there's anything wrong with being gay. But, when you've got a cult leader like Donald Trump, who is, anti-LGBTQ with everything that he's done, and he's promoting the Bible, it just goes to one thing, that he's just promoting himself. He's not promoting, the common man. My biggest dislike that I have for this man is he plays to people. They take it in, they vote for him, but indirectly he's the one that's hurting you the most. All his MAGA followers, which are normally lower income, they just read this and they read that. They read all these, conspiracy theories. And basically all they're doing, he's hurting you more than anybody else. Yes, I'm for Joe Biden in 2024 because I want to vote for democracy. I don't want a dictator. Being born in Europe, we had European history at school. Hitler in 1933 was elected to power through the Workers' Party for one thing and one thing only, because he divided people of all nationalities and religions, and one of them was the Jews. He blamed a lot on the Jews. Basically, he divided people to take the vote. Then when he got the vote and he got the control, he basically quashed all his opponents, and they was all eliminated. Donald Trump is doing exactly the same thing. America, do not be stupid on this, because that's really what's happening. Is America is being naive and you're being stupid. Think how the world view this wonderful country at the moment. One, he wants to pull us out of NATO and play us directly into the hands of Putin, Kim Jong-un. What was he saying about Kim Jong-un, 8 years ago? You will face fire and fury. All right. What was he saying about China? Well, we're going to put a 25% tax on all your imports. Now all of a sudden he's playing up to them. So come on, guys, wake up. Regardless what you think of Joe Biden, you are voting for democracy. We need to vote for democracy. If you know somebody that wants to vote, offer to take them to the voting station. Get them to vote, get them to pull out. There's a lot of changes that people are going to see. Do you have any other comments about the Bible on what we're talking about? Donald Trump's, this whole thing, Pray for America, to me, is part of the splitting process. I mean, think what he said about the Charleston thing when there was Nazis on one side, and then you had Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
There's good people on both sides.
Yeah.
Divisional. Okay?
I think it's he's, like you said, he's playing to people, and he's playing to the people that he knows will vote, right? Because a lot of the younger generation, they don't believe in religion, so most of the younger generation, they like anyone probably younger than me, anyone that's Gen Z or lower is just like, they don't really, it's not a big thing anymore. Christianity has lost a lot of its power, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, but it's like he's playing up to the people who he knows go to the voting polls and things like that. Because, like you said, if he did not, if the people that were voting didn't believe in religion, he would not be doing any of this. I don't think that like you said that he couldn't even quote, right? Earlier,
No,
he couldn't even quote
he couldn't
a
even
scripture.
quote 2 scriptures, all right, in front of 2 reporters. And his answer to it was, well, it's a very personal thing. It's something that, I keep to myself, and then here he is hawking Bibles, Pray for America.
Yeah.
It's like, really? To me, that's an out-and-out contradiction.
Yeah.
Here you are turning around and saying, oh, it's a very confidential thing to me. And now you're trying to hawk a Trump Bible. And you've got some pastors out there that believe he's the reincarnation that's coming down from God, to change everything. I mean, come on, guys, get a life.
It's very...
And I think as a businessman, he's been very smart doing it around Easter time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. He knows what he's doing. That is something that you can say.
One of the things that I think he's got over Biden, which I think people miss, Trump is a showman more than a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there more for the entertainment. So he's there for more mocking people. I mean, some of the people he's mocked recently, which I think has been atrocious. What was the black conservative meeting recently when he was comparing himself with black people?
Oh, yeah, he said that because he went to jail.
Because he's been convicted and, he might go to jail. I mean, how demeaning is that to black people?
Yeah, that just is like saying that all black people have gone to jail. Like, what?
It's just totally and utterly, it's just totally wrong. And if people can't see through that, then it's just totally wrong. And America, being the great country that it is, was our founding fathers' freedom, religion, and politics was going to be completely separate. They were completely separate, regarding what religion was not going to be part of anything. Is that correct, Kate?
Yeah, that's one of the
so
amendments.
Here we
Separation
are,
of church and
here we are
state.
all of a sudden, and, we want to be a Christian country again. And what I say to people is, if he's the person that's going to solve all these world wars, how do you think some of these countries around the world are going to start to view America? If we put a president in that basically, yes, we should be proud of who we are because we're American. We are, we were speaking this earlier, what did Martin Luther King say? Tolerant, you've got to be tolerant.
Mm-hmm.
What makes things better is people being tolerant.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've been disrespected towards Mr. Trump, but we need to be tolerant. And other countries around the world need to see us as being a tolerant nation. How can we be seen as a tolerant nation if here we are waving a Trump Bible, pray for America, as Christians, and we're going all the way around the world and trying to negotiate peace with different countries, whether they be Muslim countries, whether they be Arabic countries. I'd be most disappointed with that because I love Arabic food and Mediterranean food.
It's the best diet you can have.
You know, I've got a lot of, Arabic friends over here that, to be perfectly honest, I would be very disappointed as a country if we took this stance.
I haven't seen anything on his website or anything that he, is selling. Like, it hasn't popped up, at least not yet, to where you can purchase it. So hopefully there's some backlash because I'm confused. His shoes sold out like we were talking about earlier, but he had 1,000 pairs. So I'm just interested to see what people are going to say, even his supporters, because I think that's just ridiculous. I don't like. Why would you sell a Bible? He's never even said anything about God. I've never heard him have any stance about any type of religion that I can think of. So that's kind of where I am on that point.
There's another one. Cheney trolls Trump over Bible sales, suggests he read the verse adultery.
That's funny.
But that's what's so ridiculous about the whole thing in the Bible. There's so many parts of the Bible that he has actually broke.
Mm-hmm.
And his mega followers and his Christian followers, his Christian nationalist followers, it's like all that goes out the window.
Yeah.
The Trump tapes with the grab them by the pussy thing they had? I was watching a Trump video the other day, and it was one of his followers from MAGA, and he made the comment, he said, well, if I could grab them by the pussy, I'd grab them by the pussy as well. And I'm thinking to myself, what education level and what integrity do you have, one, to even make that statement? You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
I actually want to see something. He's divorced, right?
Yeah.
He got divorced after his
and then he was cheating on Ivanka as she was having his baby.
Yeah.
And that's been in court this week.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But I just think the whole thing with him, with his Bibles.
Yeah, I think
some people are calling it the gospel of Donald Trump.
That's probably what's in there. It's probably has a lot of subliminal messaging in there. Like you said, it's like a cult. So there's probably a lot of subliminal things going on in that little Bible, because I think that is so strange. It's
I do
weird.
agree with Cheney. I wish Cheney or Nikki Haley would run for president.
Yeah,
I really would.
I said I'm signing up as a Republican just so I can vote in the Republican primaries, so I can just not vote for Trump. So we need to vote for somebody in the primaries so that Trump isn't the one that they elect.
Do you know what I honestly admire? And this is what I'm a registered Democrat, but I honestly admire Cheney, and I admire Adam, whatever his name was, who was on the committee, and I admire Liz Cheney, Adam Kissinger, all right, and I admire Nikki Haley, because they stood up to the man.
Yeah.
They realize where he's leading the Republican Party. We need the Republican Party in America.
Yeah, I think
to give it some balance.
There's a reason that we have multiple parties, because we
don't have multiple parties.
We have
That's
two.
the problem.
We have two. We technically three if you count the Green Party, but nobody cares
You
about
know,
the Green Party.
but I mean, we can do with more parties.
I wish we had like 5 parties. So then it's just like, okay.
Have a guess how many parties there are in England?
Aren't there like 20 or like
14.
14? Yeah, see, I think that's perfect.
And I'll tell you why, because you have the Scottish Party, Scottish National Party, you have the Northern Irish Party or whatever, you have the Welsh Nationalists, you have the Liberal Party, I think, the Labour Party, and you have the Conservatives.
Yeah.
It's time for the Labour Party to get in. England and the working class person has always been stronger when it's had unions, when it's had unions. Employees have been treated better when it's had unions. It's had healthcare. It's had, pension plans and all the other things. The strongest time in America was after the Second World War, when there was plenty of work for everybody, but at the same time, the unions were the strongest.
Yeah.
And then when they started to take them away in the 70s, that's when workers' rights and benefits from the workers completely changed. And now it's a case of talking about your pension. I'm hoping to retire in the next 12 months, 24 months. I guess I'll still be working, because now it's a case of you've got to keep on working to, to
live.
the end of retirement.
Yeah, I was like,
I mean, we manage properties and we have courtesy carts where they drive through the middle of the night.
mm-hmm.
And we have people that are 80 years old that are driving carts at night. All right,
it's scary.
Just to give them some money because they're on a fixed income.
Yeah. And it's scary. I went outside at night on Monday just to like look at the golf course and the water. I was like, I'm going back inside. I'm terrified. But yeah, so that's really sad.
You don't allow them to carry firearms. But
You get a little taser gun. But yeah, I just
we give them a phone and tell them to call the police. And the police are very good normally.
mm-hmm.
But anyway, so we've sort of covered that, I think. Is there any other comments that you've got on that?
No, I hope that there's a ton of backlash and it doesn't happen. So
what do you think is going to happen, Kate? I mean, do you think there will be backlash, or do you think people will take this and do you think it's divisible? I mean, do you think it makes people very, do you think it splits groups up? To me, it splits groups up. Because the president should be seen as somebody that, it's a little bit like me being a board member of some of the HOAs that were, regardless what people's opinions are, what their religion is, whether they're a Buddhist, whether they're a Muslim, whether they're a Sikh, whatever, I should always have their ear and concerns in mind. Whether I like what they say or whether I dislike what they say, I should always be in a position where I'm listening to their concerns.
Like you said, it's just tolerance. And like, yeah, I think it's going to be 100% a completely divisional thing. I mean, hopefully kids will come out to vote just because of the fact they want to. And I say kids, but I mean like Generation Gen Z. Hopefully they'll come out to vote just to be defiant against the fact that he is selling Bibles, because Gen Z is very defiant. It's like, remember the punk rockers back in the 80s? It's like that's what Gen Z is now.
In Britain, we was leading.
Yeah, y'all were.
We was leading the punk revolution.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I think. We'll get more younger voters out in the fall. Global warming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
because I think do you know what? I actually spoke to somebody last night. I'm on a board for one of my investment properties, and he's an electrical engineer. He's worked in the oil business for over 30 years, and he's just moved over to the renewable energy department as an electrical engineer. And he said the green energy design and development is progressing so fast that there will be such a change over the next 10 years of how much energy we will be generating ourselves. That's because everything is becoming so much more efficient. You know, and these wind farms that Trump's talking about that gives you cancer and I mean, that's just BS.
Of course.
You know.
It sounds like we need to start investing in some renewable energy, though. It sounds like we need to. That's where we need to put our cash.
That's what I'm saying. He tells so many lies about we're self-sufficient. We have never produced so much energy at any time in our history than what we have under the Biden administration. So, that's got its good points as well. Anything else about the Bible, or do you want to move on to the next point?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think we've exhausted that. Okay, our next point we would like to talk about our hearts, souls, regardless what your religion is, are going out to the Baltimore Key Bridge collapse. It is a very sad time, especially around Easter, for this to happen. Apparently, I was listening to the news this morning, and it's turned from a recovery situation. Was it called? You always get it wrong. A search and rescue to recovery. And apparently there were 6 people that are still missing. They reckon that the people that are missing were people that was actually on the bridge filling potholes. And they reckon if it wasn't for the professionalism of the people on the ship and the people of the professionalism who monitored the bridge itself, that the death toll would have been a lot higher. Because apparently what happened was the people that was on the bridge that was filling the potholes actually blocked the bridge and stopped cars driving across.
Yeah.
So that gave, the time. But the photo of the collapse, I have never seen anything so horrendous. Have you seen the videos of the collapse?
Yeah, it went down like a house of cards. It's like it literally just, that was crazy because it was almost like it was sped up, but that was just real time. Like in 0.6 seconds, the whole thing just kind of just went down. And so that's, they did a wonderful job though, making sure that they did get that information out. Like we said, there were 20 people that were harmed, or that were on the bridge and things like that, and like they're looking for 6 people now. Actually, as of an hour ago, they found another person. He's alive, he's just injured. So
I've just read an article. It says 3 Mexican nationals were on the bridge when it collapsed.
Exactly, yeah.
1 survived with injuries. Mexico's president said.
Yeah, that was about 45 minutes ago. Yeah. So that's
3
good.
Mexican nationals were among those on the Francis Scott Key Bridge when it collapsed Tuesday. Mexico's president said Wednesday morning. One of those individuals was rescued and is alive. President Alves. It's just very sad.
It is very sad. It's kind of alarming how it's just like, it's such a big random tragedy, One person, when it first happened, yesterday in the morning, when I was reading just some comments, and one person was like, wow, I literally go on this bridge every day to get to work. And he was like, I usually go at 4 in the morning, but I was not on the bridge during that time because I woke up late, or I got called in late or something like that. So if I would have been there, he's like, I kind of got a little lucky by not being there. So he's like, I would have been in it. And he's like, I can't believe that the bridge that I use every single day is just gone now.
Right.
And I'm like, that's very true. Like, it's just, this is something that's a staple in people's lives. And, this is also.
Could be out of action for a long time.
Yeah,
There's one point I just want to dwell on, and I want to dwell on this because I'm an immigrant, and I think one of the things that America forgets at times is we are a nation, okay, of immigrants. Everybody that came over to America, somewhere along our family line, were immigrants. And I want to read parts of this CNN report where it says, the National Transportation Safety Board chair told CNN the investigators were able to board the ship overnight and obtain the data recorder, or black box, and more information will be shared with the public later today. A father of 3 from El Salvador has been identified as one of the missing, as has a father of 2 Honduras, both of whom had lived in the US for almost 2 decades. 2 Guatemalans are among those unaccounted for, and some, or those missing, are Mexican nationals. Divers resumed recovery efforts Wednesday.
Yeah,
And that's what I want to say to everybody, is everybody turned around and said, about immigrants, but please never forget we are a country of immigrants. We should be treating people in a humane way. We shouldn't be throwing slurs at one another. All it does is it demises, it just degenerates the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
I love what Michelle Obama said. When the others go low, we go
high. Yeah, that's.
And I just think that, I say to everybody, everybody's talking about there is problems on the southern border. We have to do something about it. I'm sorry, but the Republicans stopped it because of Mr. Trump, because he was so more busy selling Bibles. But the other issue I want to say to everybody is, who's going to pick your fruits? Who's going to dig your roads?
I don't know.
It is what it is, isn't it?
Right.
Anyway. So is that it for today?
I think that's all. Unless you want to talk about P. Diddy. Just kidding.
What's that?
I said unless you want to talk about P. Diddy. I'm just kidding.
No, we'll leave that. I actually like his songs. So.
I do too, but I was just like, that is crazy.
What, sex trafficking?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of rumors for years about him doing that, but now that it's kind of all coming into like fruition, it's like, oh my goodness, like he really,
So at this point, what is he accused of? Getting young girls in there? Getting girls from a particular country?
No, just he's a sex trafficking ring. Girls, boys, just everybody. He's
from which country?
Here in America. It's a lot of just American, younger American girls from like bad neighborhoods and stuff like that. He's just accused of, taking them from bad neighborhoods
and pimping them?
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
and drugs too. They found his drug mule.
See, this is my problem with all of this. If you're making as much money as Puff Daddy,
mm-hmm.
all right. I love the song with him and Sting, I'll Be Missing You, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want that played at my funeral.
Mm-hmm.
why on earth, if you're such a fabulous artist, do you even want to delve in that type of lifestyle?
That's very true.
Is it greed?
So I think it is greed because I will say without saying too much because I don't want to get in trouble by my, other place, but I do work for a recording studio and they do sell a lot of explicit things, not like cocaine and things like that, but they do like a lot of artists still do, drug
They do
trafficking.
drugs?
Yeah, they do drug trafficking. Like they
Is it because,
sell
do you
drugs.
think it's because they feel they've got to be high to be creative?
I'm just talking about the selling portion. I'm not even talking about actually like using it. I'm talking about
Oh,
they
okay.
sell it, and so I think that is true that they do think that.
Because if you remember, going back to the 60s, the Beatles were a bit like that.
Yeah, a
You know
lot
what
of
I'm saying? You know,
people.
the 60s, they were like, their haircuts and everything else.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they came out with Lonely, was it Sergeant's Lonely Hearts Club Band?
Mhm.
And then they became out with the hippie style, and they was
Yeah.
openly smoking cannabis at the time.
Mhm.
And then the love movement came out after that.
And then everybody
And
was
then
smoking weed
Vietnam,
on.
the whole thing with Vietnam came out.
Yeah.
Pull out from the war, and it went global.
Yeah. And so everybody just started doing it. So yeah, I don't know. I
I'm a bit disappointed if that's the case with Puff Daddy, because I like Puff Daddy as an artist.
but there are so many people who do sell drugs. Like like even, a lot of millionaires, they do it. I used to live in Northern California. Weed is legal there. I used to live in an area and they literally called it the Emerald Triangle because weed is green. And so they would sell it. But most of the people that made the most money, they lived in the mountains in California and they just had like camps full of it and they were millionaires. They were just, like they had so much money and they would pay migrants, or just like teenagers or whoever to go up there and, do the work for them every single day. And so I used to waitress there, but I used to date a guy and that was his job. He used to go and work up there. And so, but when I tell you you wouldn't think that, it's a guy in a suit and tie, his actual like day job, he's a lawyer, but on the side, he's a drug trafficker.
Oh my God.
It's like it's so bad. And it's just, that's what a lot of them do that. It's actually an alarming amount. So same thing with, P. Diddy is just like, his other things that he's accused of is, of course, we can't say the R word on YouTube, but we can say assault, sexual assault. His ex-girlfriend, she sued him for it a long time ago and she got a settlement. Like she sued him for it a few years ago and it was proven that it was true and they settled out of court and things like that, but
Was she a white girl?
she was black. She's a very
So
popular
the
singer.
R word, am I missing something here?
Sexual assault, R word.
Sexual assault.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah, so we can't say that, but he was accused of that. And then his ex-assistant, who's a man, also accused him of that, of doing it to him. Um, so, and then just a lot of people have been like, hey, he's done it. That's why I said like it was a few years ago from his ex-girlfriend and they had a very public relationship. She's a very popular singer, so there was no reason for her to like, to just randomly accuse him. Like he actually did it. They went through, it was like a 5-month court battle. There was no, he was like, it was obviously that he did it. And then a lot of kids, he used to, he's a producer. He had
Well,
a,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's so innovative and he's so creative.
and he puts a
And
lot of groups
then,
together.
he produces for other artists. I really think he's a very, very creative, very talented, probably one of the most creative, talented individuals in that scene. I didn't like hip hop until I listened to him.
That's interesting. But it's funny that you say that because, yeah, he's innovative and things like that. However, a lot of people that he wrote for and produced for were, younger people or people that were trying to become famous or become artists. So he would invite them over to his house. And then he would be like, oh, same thing with Harvey Weinstein. Basically did Harvey
Are we
Weinstein.
talking a Michael Jackson situation, do you think?
Not that young, but like, like teenagers, he's like, oh, you want to be famous? We're talking Harvey Weinstein situation,
Okay.
where it's like,
Because personally,
you want to be famous? You gotta kiss me.
People say about Michael Jackson, I don't really go for the Michael Jackson thing.
I didn't think so either. I think R. Kelly did it, and Bill Cosby, but yeah,
I
more
agree
of
with the whole thing with Bill Cosby, but I've always thought, I don't think Michael Jackson did that. I just think he had a very, very kind heart. And, was it sort of
weird? Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's not exactly, he teach you his art.
Yeah, I think the big thing about what happened with Michael Jackson was that, first of all, a lot of kids came out later on when they were older and said that, they were coached by their parents after their trials back in the early 2000s.
Did their parents coach them?
To say that that he
For
did those
money?
things. Yeah, because they were, one kid said it, so then everybody started saying it. Even famous kids, like I think Frankie Muniz, remember Malcolm in the Middle, that kid? He was like, yeah, he never did anything to me. Same thing with like Aaron Carter. Like a few kids were like, no, that never happened, and they were famous kids. But the thing with Michael Jackson is that he was famous since he was, 6 years old, so he never had a childhood. So I think that a lot of that was him trying to reclaim his childhood.
I totally agree.
So, but no, I'm talking Harvey Weinstein. He was like, oh, if you want to become famous, you need to sit on my lap. I'm
Right.
Santa Claus. I'm going to give you a gift, basically. So that's what P. Diddy was doing. And a lot of people, have said like, yeah, this is what happened to me, And a lot of people believe it because it's been a rumor that's been going around for like the past 10 years. The past 10 years. But recently, maybe 5 years ago, when his ex-girlfriend, started talking about it, and she sued him, and she won the case because of the evidence. That's when it's like all started to ramp up. So her name is Cassie. 2023, she filed the lawsuit. She was trafficked, beaten, for 10 years. So they were together for 10 years. And not long after she met him and signed her to his label in 2005, she was 19 and he was 37. And they had been dating, since maybe around then. And then she was trying to end it in 2018. He forced himself on her in 2018. And then, they broke up, obviously. And then, yeah, he did it. And he said they settled out of court, and then his lawyer said this is in no way any admission of wrongdoing. But how can you say that? You can't say that. You just didn't want to get caught. And so then in 2023 someone said it, like, so this is all just started to ramp up more over the course of last year. So that's why. But it's been happening. I mean, people have been talking about it for a few years, but that sucks. It's like, why does every beautifully creative person have to be also a terrible person? It just sucks. It's like, but yeah, so that's all I have. That's all we have for the day, is just...
Yeah. The only comment that I've got about the whole Michael Jackson thing is, I had the honor not to meet Michael Jackson, but to just be by the side of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people were just pushing him around, and his bodyguards were sort of, pushing people away over at Memorial City Mall. That was one time. And there was another time when I was in Vegas, and he visited a store there in the Venetian.
Mm-hmm.
And he went in there. But do you know what amazed me about Michael Jackson?
Hmm.
He took the time to speak to all the people that was around him.
That's so nice.
And for somebody of his stature, you know, on both occasions, he had the time, you know, just to talk to them and say hi and sign a couple of signatures. And, you know, to me, he had a lot of humility, and it sort of upsets me when, you know, people say bad things about other people when they passed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's even happened in my family after my father passed. There was people, you know, in and around my family that said bad things about my father.
Yeah.
Say when they're alive.
Say it with your chest is what we say.
Absolutely.
Say it with
What's
your,
that?
say it with your chest. If you're real about it, say it with your chest.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it for this week. We hope you have a great, happy Easter. We have enjoyed all the podcasts, the Olympian Table. I'll be honest with you, we have enjoyed them all this year. We want to thank you. Please like, subscribe, share. You know, we appreciate if you would share the podcasts, share some of the shorts, help us, you know, and help the channel grow. If there's anything that you'd like to see us cover, you know, please make some comments in the chat. We will try to get back on all the chats and, you know, give our opinions on different things. If you're in the Houston area and you know, you're interested in coming onto the table, we'd love to have you here. Just come in, you know, and request if you can come in. But anyway, until we see you same time next week, we may be moving the time of the Olympian Table just to give Kay a bit more time to get here in the week, I think on a Wednesday. I think that might help. We may be moving it back to 11 o'clock. But anyway, until then, have a great Easter. Share some time with your family. Share some happiness. Share some health, you know, and peace.